Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you everyone for joining. So, we have been discussing this series of Krishna's 6 promises in Bhagavad Gita. And we discussed last week one of the promise. Anybody remembers? Let us do the quick recap and see.
Lord
chapter
Krishna
9.
preserves. Lord Krishna preserves what we have, and He gives what we need.
Yes, 9.22. Krishna provides what we lack, and He preserves what we have. So that was the promise, and we discussed in detail. So today we are going to discuss yet another very, very important promise of Krishna from Bhagavad Gita. So we'll be reading from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, which has been given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So we'll see that what is the promise today. So this is promise 2, and many of you might have already seen. Krishna's devotees, they never perish. That is what is Krishna's promises. So what is that verse? Any idea? Any clue? Famous verse, Prabhupada quotes many times. Let me see. Anybody on online want to answer?
Hare Krishna. Kaunteya prati janai न में प्रणमक्षति न में व्यक्ता प्रणश्यति क्षिप्रम भवति धर्मात्मा.
Yeah, so that is the promise that Krishna gives. Let's see where is the verse. Okay. So that verse is here. It is 9.31. Shipram bhavati dharmatma sasva shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi ame bhaktya pranashyati. So what we'll do is, let us recite this verse. These are all very important verses. If we can learn, memorize them, then we can contemplate, we can meditate on these verses. So maybe just 2-3 times, let us recite this verse. So you can follow after me. And those who are joining online, please mute yourself. Make sure that you are on mute. And on mute, you can follow after me. So it doesn't create a disturbance to others. Okay, so I'll just recite and you can repeat after me. Shipram bhavati dharmatma sasva shantim negacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashyati. Shipram bhavati dharmatma sasva shantim negacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashyati. One more last time recite. Shibram bhavati dharmatma sasva shantim negacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. So this is the verse and translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes.
So much to where all of this came from.
Okay, one second. So Brandon Prabhu, I made you the co-host. Please control all this. You should mute the people. Okay, so let us see the background of this verse, because he's saying he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. Whom he is referring to? Krishna is talking this verse. So it looks like there is something in the background to it. Some context needs to be understood. We need to understand that who is that person that who quickly becomes righteous. So let us look at that, the previous verse of this. So Krishna actually explains in 9.30 says, Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhag. Sadhur eva samantavya. So what Krishna says, anyone who is a devotee, but sometimes you can see the devotee, or it may happen, Api chet suduracharo, that he has done some abominable activity, something which is not acceptable from a devotee. If somebody has committed that kind of an offense, that kind of a mistake, so shall we reject that person? So what is Krishna's viewpoint? Krishna says, Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhag. Yes, he might have done some abominable activities, but bhajate mam ananya bhag. But still he continues, bhajate. He continues to worship me. He continues to chant my name. And how he worship, how he chants, ananya. So now you see the connection. In the 9.22 also we saw that. Ananyas chintayanto mam. So that is the condition. It's not like that occasionally you go worship. Krishna will definitely give the protection to those devotees also. But the condition here is very clear. Ananya bhag. Ananyas chintayanto mam. One who is a ananya devotee. Ananya means there's nothing anya. Anya means there's no other thing in his life. There's no other dependence. There's no other shelter. Only surrender to Krishna. So he says, bhajate mam ananya bhag. If somebody has done the mistake, and then, but still he continues, then to that devotee, he says, Shipram bhavati dharmatma. That devotee will soon, Shipram bhavati dharmatma. He says he will very soon become dharmatma. He'll become righteous. And what he's saying? Shashva shantim nigachati. And he'll attain the lasting peace. Okay, so let us understand this quickly about this 9.30, where Krishna is saying that one who has done some abominable activity, but he continues to worship me. To that devotee, sadhu revasa mantavya. I still consider that devotee a sadhu. So Krishna is saying that if somebody has done some mistake, but still I don't say that he's a third class person, because he continued to worship, continued to chant the holy name of Krishna. So he still remains, in the eyes of Krishna, he remains the devotee. Now somebody can take the advantage of this kind of statements. Somebody can say, okay, Krishna is saying something happens. Krishna will still consider me the devotee. But you should understand, it is not conscious mistake. Circumstantially, accidentally, something had happened in the course. Because when you practice the spiritual life, a lot of testing has to happen. Maya will put a lot of hurdles, a lot of challenges will come. And sometimes, if we cannot deal with the challenges and something happens, we end up doing something which is considered abominable. Krishna is saying to that devotee, still, I consider the sadhu. So we should understand that everything can be accommodated in Krishna's plan. That is Krishna's mercy. That is his love for all of us. But he says, okay, you did some mistake, no problem. I'm not going to leave you. So we need to understand from this statement that how much love Krishna has for all the conditioned soul in this world. He says, I don't care if you have done some mistake, if accidentally done. You should not take the advantage of those statements. Right? So all the plans can be accommodated, all the mistakes can be accommodated in Krishna's plan. Though Krishna, sometimes people say, maybe Krishna wanted me to do this, so probably I did this mistake. So we should understand, and there is Krishna's plan and there is Krishna's desire. Two different things. So Krishna doesn't desire that we do some mistakes. But if at all we do some mistakes, still that mistake can be accommodated in Krishna's plan. It is just like to understand this point. Like say the student goes in the school and a student fails, right? So a school or the teacher doesn't plan student to fail. They will test him. They'll give some tough question paper. But their plan is not to fail the student. Plan is to study well, learn, and then become more mature. So though it is not the plan of the school or the teacher to fail the student, but still in case the student fails, then there is a plan for that student. Either he can again go and study or can take up something like that. So he is not rejected. He is not kicked out from the school that, okay, you failed, now just get lost. So like that, if we do the mistake, Krishna says no problem. If you continue to study student continue to study, sincerely work hard, and then he can pass the exam. So Krishna is saying, Bhajate ma mananya bhak api chet suduracharo. If you might have done some mistake, abominable mistake, but if you continue to remember me, continue to take my shelter, then to that devotee what happens? This is what happens. That is what is the discussion, the verse today we are discussing. Chipram bhavati dharmatma. That devotee, that person quickly becomes righteous. It becomes dharmatma. He might have done some mistake. And then Shashvat Shantim Nigachati, and in the due course he'll attain the lasting peace. There might be a lot of disturbance going on. He might have done some mistake. He's completely disillusioned, lost. But Krishna is saying, you just continue to chant my name. And then Shashvat Shantim Nigachati. You'll attain the lasting peace. Okay, so that is one thing here. Now, in the another line, what Krishna is saying, Konteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Now, Prabhupada explained this point very nicely. Why Krishna is saying, O son of Kunti, declare it boldly? Why he is not declaring? Krishna himself is not claiming that I'll protect my devotee. What is saying? O son of Kunti, or Arjuna, you go and you declare my devotee never perishes. So there is a deep meaning to that. Prabhupada explains that sometime it may happen that if Krishna says something, and then people may not believe. Why? Because there is a history to it. But sometimes Krishna can change his promise. So Prabhupada quote this story of Bhishma Deva. So in the Mahabharata, in one particular day, Duryodhana was becoming a little perturbed. He said, these people, we cannot win over, all these Pandavas, so I have to do something. And he knew that Bhishma is very, very powerful. He can conquer the entire army of Pandavas. But also he knew that Bhishma in the heart, he had a lot of love and the special corner for the Pandavas. So he understands that, Duryodhana is understanding that Bhishma is not actually fighting with his entire power and the vigor. So one day he goes to Bhishma Dev, this Duryodhana, and he says that I know that you are on my side, but in the heart you are not on my side. You are favoring the Pandavas. So he challenged him. And Bhishma Dev, as being the Kshatriya, and this is the nature of the Kshatriya, their blood, like immediately somebody comes and challenges like that, their blood boils. He said, how can you say like that? You're blaming me that I'm not on your side. So I take the vow that tomorrow by sunset, all these Pandavas will not exist. I'll finish them. So that was Bhishma Pratigya. And everybody knew that if Bhishma they take the Pratigya, he takes the vow, nobody can change, nobody can defeat. So that becomes the talk of the town, that what will happen tomorrow, in the end of the story, all the Mahabharata will be over. Right? And then this news spreaded, and then Krishna got to know. So Krishna immediately go into the camp where the Pandavas are taking, specifically this Arjuna. And he said, did you hear the news? What's going on in the market? He says, what is that? He says, Bhishma has already taken the Pratigya. Tomorrow he'll finish all the Pandavas. So Arjuna was cool. He was relaxed. He says, what's a big deal? He says, you are not tensed. He says, what is my problem? You are there. You have to deal with it. Because it is your promise. Konteya pratijanihi nam bhaktya pranashyati. Just before the battle only, he spoke the Bhagavad Gita. So probably Arjuna remembered this verse. So he says, you are taken already. You are given the promise that you will protect. So this is your tension, not my problem. So Arjuna went to sleep peacefully. Krishna couldn't sleep. So I had to do something about it. Right? He said, no, you listen my plan. You should immediately go and meet Duryodhana. So in the Vedic times, how the fight used to happen is, all day these two parties, they'll fight. In the evening, they'll all come together. They'll be friends in the evening. They're not enemies. They'll sit together, they'll talk casually, they'll eat together and share something. Oh, this was nice. This was, I killed that person, something like that. So that was the system. So in the evening, this Arjuna goes to Duryodhana, and then Duryodhana welcomed him. He says, yeah, Arjuna, please come. What do you want? Tell me. So Arjuna was younger to Duryodhana. So he was acting like elder brother now, cousin brother. Says, you want something? Tell me. If you want to, stop the fight, I can stop. If you ask me. Say, no, don't worry about the fight. I don't want that. So basically, what happened before that, I just forgot to mention that when this Bhishma Deva took the pratigya, so he took the 5 arrows, and that is how he took the pratigya, that these 5 arrows will kill the 5 Pandavas tomorrow. So this Duryodhana is being very smart. He says, better to keep those arrows with me, and tomorrow morning I'll hand over. So this Krishna knew everything, so he sent the Arjuna, and he said, you should go and ask, because there is another story that Duryodhana has given the promise to Arjuna that anytime you want something, there is a promise was there, I'll give you. So Krishna reminds that this is the time, now you should go and remind for that promise and take those 5 arrows. So he goes and he asks that what do you want? He says, give me the 5 arrows. Right. So those 5 arrows have been taken. So next day when Bhishma comes and he asks that, okay, give me those 5 arrows. He said, already taken. So he understood that it is all Krishna's plan. But still Bhishma Deva was very strong about his pratigya. He says, anyway, my pratigya nobody can defeat. Nobody can challenge my pratigya. I'll still kill them. Either I'll kill them today or I'll fight so violently that either they'll be killed or otherwise Krishna has to break his promise off. So Krishna has taken the promise in the Mahabharata that he will never lift any weapon. That was Krishna's promise. So he says either these 5 Pandavas will be killed or Krishna has to break his promise. There's no other way that anybody can protect the Pandavas. So then the fighting was happening and it was very violent fighting. And of course, Arjuna was not that powerful that he can defeat Bhishma. So Arjuna was almost dead. And that is when Krishna, he takes the wheel of the chariot and he charged Bhishma Dev. And that is when the Bhishma surrenders to Krishna and he says, my dear Lord, you can kill me or whatever you want. I'm surrendered soul. Bhishma was a pure devotee of Krishna. And actually it has been explained that Bhishma was in a Virya Ras. So between the Supreme Lord, God, and the devotee, there is a rasa, there is a mallow. The different devotees relate with the Lord in a different, rasas. So there are primarily 5 rasas, which is Shantaras, Dasharas, Sakyaras, Vasalyaras, and Madhuryaras. Like somebody treats the Lord as, in the Shantaras means the trees and the grass of Vrindavan. When Krishna will walk, all those trees will just, offer something to Krishna like a fan. They're serving Krishna in Shantaras. Then there is Dasharas, like we see the Hanumanji, he's in Dasharas. He's always in the mood of servant, that you are my Lord, I'm your servant. Then Sakyaras. Sakyaras means you treat the Lord as your friend. All the Gopas in Vrindavan, all the coward friends of Krishna, they always consider Krishna as their friend. They don't know that Krishna is God. And then there are Vasalyaras, like Yashodamai. She doesn't understand Krishna as God. For her, Krishna is like a small child. And then Madhuryaras, the gopis. So these are 5 primary rasas, and there's 7 secondary rasas are also being explained. So in those secondary rasas, this is Virya ras, and like that Hashya ras. So there's multiple rasas like that. So this Bhishma Dev is in Veer ras. So Bhishma Dev is shooting the arrows on Krishna in the battlefield, and it is piercing Krishna's body and the blood is oozing out. So it has been explained by the Acharyas. For Krishna, it is like a devotee is offering the flower. So for Bhishma Deva, his flowers are his arrows, and Krishna is taking. So that is the rasa that Lord wants to enjoy with his devotees. So anyway, so here what happened when this Bhishma Dev, Krishna lifted that, and then Krishna broke his promise. He said that I never lift any weapon, but he lifted the weapon. So now there is a black mark on Krishna. Hey, you don't keep your promise. You said that you will never lift the weapon, but you lifted. So we should understand that Krishna can make his words wrong to protect his devotee or to prove the words of his devotees true. That is Krishna. He said, I don't care about my reputation. Somebody blame me that, oh, you are not truthful to your own promise. But if it comes to my devotee, or to keep the words of my devotee true, then I'll break my own promise. Right? We see in the Srimad Bhagavatam also the story of Prad Maharaj, that how when Hiranyakashipu was trying to kill Prad Maharaj, and he attempted multiple ways and multiple times, but he couldn't harm Prahlad, small boy, 5 years old. And finally he took the task that today I'll kill. And he tied Prahlad Maharaj to the pillar and he was pointing out Where is your God? Where is your Krishna? Where is your Vishnu? So like that he was pointing out, he is here, he is here, he is here, like that. And then finally, when the Hiranyakashipu pointed out to that pillar where he was tied, Prad Maharaj was tied, and he says, is your Krishna is here? And Prahlad Maharaj, such a pure devotee, he couldn't see anything but Krishna everywhere. So he says, yes, Krishna is here. And then just to prove the words of Prahlad Maharaj, that Krishna is here, Krishna has to come from there. So it comes in the 8th chapter of 7th canto, when Narasimhadev appears. So this verse says, Satyam Vidatum Nijbhritya Bhashitam. So he says, Satyam Vidatum Nijbhritya Bhashitam. Nijbhritya means my devotee. Bhashitam, whatever is spoken, to Satyam Vidatum, to keep his words Satyam. It should not go wrong. He said Krishna is here, means Krishna has to come from there. So to prove the words of his devotee, Satyam Vidatum, Nijbhritya Bhashitam, Vyaptim cha Bhuteshu, Chakaleshu Chatmana, Adrishatam, Ati Adbhut Rupam Udvahan. Says that Krishna has taken the form Adrishatam, that nobody has ever seen that form, because that form did not existed before. Adrishatam, Ati Adbhut Rupam. It's Adbhut Roop. That is why I was saying that, Narasimha prayers. Adbhuta Shringa. So it's Adbhuta Roop of Lord Krishna, which nobody has seen ever, but just to keep the words of his devotee true, Lord has taken that form. And also, it has been explained that Brahmaji also gave the promise to Hiranyakashipu when he asked for the boon that I should not be killed by any man or by any animal, by any weapon in the daytime or in the night time. To keep, Brahmaji is also another devotee, to keep his words also true. And then Krishna has to take the form which is not of a man, not an animal. This is Narasimha form. Nar means the human, half man and half lion form. So you see how it is? So that is Krishna's nature. And to keep the words of his devotee, he can make his words or his promise false. So that is why here you see in this verse, Kaunteya Pratijanihi. Krishna is saying that people may doubt. They can give some references. Oh, no, we don't believe what you say. So you go and declare boldly. What to declare? Name Bhaktya Pranashyati. That my devotee never perishes. And if devotee says something, then Krishna will go to any extent to keep the words of his devotee true. So that is the understanding here. So let us understand this now. What it means that Name Bhaktya Pranashyati, because that is the promise. So we'll be spending a little more time on this particular line to understand that my devotee never perishes means what? I'll read something from Prabhupada and I'll explain. So Prabhupada writes here, my devotee never perishes. Name Bhaktya Pranashyati. Pranashyati means never perishes. Destruction. So Prabhupada explains what is this destruction is being discussed here. What do you call that? Devotee is destructed. So Prabhupada explains the real destruction is when we lose our spiritual consciousness. That is the real nash. All other things, materially, you are successful or you are a failure, anyway, it is temporary. But the real destruction is for anyone, especially for a devotee, when we lose our spiritual consciousness, when we forget our real spiritual identity, that I am part and parcel of Krishna. We'll take up the questions a little later. Just remember. So that is what it is. And this destruction is caused by materialism. When somebody becomes too materialistic, then they forget their spiritual identity. And that is what is the real destruction is considered. People are so lost into all this material success. We are not saying that we are against the material success, but it should not be too rampant that you forget your spiritual consciousness, your spiritual identity. So as scriptures explains that we all belong to the Supreme Lord. It's like the son of a rich father, for whatever reason he forgets that my father is so rich. And he leaves the father, goes in the street and wanders like a vagabond and is struggling just to maintain himself. Now you can live the life of Sat Chit Anand. You can live the life of eternity, full of knowledge, full of bliss. That is what is our constitutional position. But we forget everything. There's no Anand. Everything is Niranand. Everybody is running after happiness in life. They think this will give me happiness, that will give me happiness. maybe money, maybe some power, maybe some relations, but there's no happiness. There's a lot of promise of happiness in this world, but there's no real experience of true happiness. So that is what is the lost. That is what is the real destruction. So that is what Prabhupada is explaining here, that our destruction means material existence, and that is the cause of our spiritual existence. So we should understand very carefully what Krishna will protect us from. Because if we don't understand this carefully, then we might have some false expectation that Krishna should protect my job. Krishna can do that also. It's not like Krishna can't do that, but he can do much more. So you should have the right expectations from Krishna, like that. Right. So it has been explained. It's a beautiful song actually. There it has been explained that what is the situation of the conditioned soul in this material world. It has been explained through this beautiful song by one of our acharya. Says, Anadi karama phale, di bhavar navajale, tari bare na dekhi upai. It's in Bengali. So it has been explained, Anadi karama phale. I'm doing a lot of karma. How long? Anadi. There's no beginning. Beginningless. I've been engaged in all this cycle of karma. Anadi karama phale podi bhavar navajale. And because of my karma, podi bhavar navajale, I have fallen into this ocean of material existence. Fallen here in this material world. Tari bare na dekhi upay. And I don't see any hope. There's no way, Tari bare, to deliver, to come out from this material existence. I've fallen into this ocean of material existence because of beginningless karma. We are doing all kinds of karma. We are stuck here in this material existence. And then he says, E vishaya hala hale, diva nishi hiya jwale. And what I'm doing here in this material existence, in material world, E vishaya hala hale. I'm eating this vish. Vish means poison. What kind of poison? Halahal poison. Halal means it's very poisonous, very strong poison. So all this material activities is being compared with this Vishya halahale. So what people are doing is they're eating poison. Diva nishi hiya jale. Day in, day out, they're engaged in eating this poisonous, this halal poison by doing materialistic activities. And because of that, what is happening? Hiya jale. My heart is burning. There's no happiness. There's no experience of happiness. And then man kabu sukha nahi ba. And my mind is never happy. I'm thinking this will make me happy, that will make me happy. And I'm engaged without understanding that this is like the halal poison. I'm eating this poison and my heart is burning. Man kabu sukha nahi ba. And it says asha pasha sata sata klesha daya avirata. So what is the cause of this bondage here in this material world? It says we are bound. Pash. Pash means with a rope of shata shata. Hundreds and hundreds. We are not bound by just one rope. There's hundreds ropes have bound us. What is that rope? It says Asha Pasha. Asha means the desires, the hope that this world will, these people around me, they'll give me happiness. These relations, this money, this power, this position, this facility, this comfort make me happy. This is Asha. This is Asha Pasha. This is the rope. And not one, thousands and thousands such ropes. Asha Basha Sata Sata Klesha Deya Avirada. They're giving me constant klesh, constant tribulations. That is what is the situation here. And then it says Kama Krodha Adichaya Batupada Deya Bhaya. And on top of that, there is 6 more items. Kama Krodha Adichaya. Chaya means 6. So we know that Kam, Krodha, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya. So they are constantly giving me more and more fear. So this is what is the situation in this material world. So what Krishna is saying here, that Name Bhaktya Pranashyati, my devotee never perishes. So first Prabhupada is explaining that what is the destruction has been discussed. We don't know that what is our problem. We are looking for the solution without understanding what is the problem. We think our problem is some job, some house, some EMIs, some latest iPhone 15, how to get it. We think that is our problem. That is not the problem. Whether you get it or you don't get it, it doesn't change your life much. Real problem is this. This is what is the real destruction. So Prabhupada explains, he says, suppose somebody is thrown into the ocean. the mid of the ocean. And no matter how expert swimmer that person is, can he ever cross the ocean by swimming? How much ever expert you are, but you can't cross the ocean. You can cross maybe some few feet or few meters, whatever, swimming competition, but not the ocean. So that is what is exactly our situation is. So the person who was thrown into the mid of the ocean, he can't swim over, though he's a very expert swimmer. Somebody has to come from the top and lift him up. That is the only way, that is the only hope. So that is the hope that Krishna is giving here. Name bhaktya pranashyati, that I'll protect my devotee. So what is happening in this modern civilization, this all modern scientists, all that, they're trying to swim over this ocean of mental existence. Okay, create this facility, that comfort. Now there's too hot outside. Okay, let us create some air conditioning, hot water, hot air. Car is hot. Everything is wonderful. But Nisha, Nishi, Hiya Jole, constantly heart is burning with that heat of whatever heater that is going inside. People are not happy. They cannot be happy. They're not understanding. So all this material advancement, this scientific improvement, we're not against all of that. The problem is it's an illusion that those things can solve the problem of life. They can give you the comforts, but they cannot give you the happiness. A person can be sitting very comfortably in some nice mansion and comfortably miserable. That is what is the modern situation is. People are sitting in big offices, big palatial buildings, and they're sweating. AC is running, they're sweating not because of AC. They're sweating because of so much of anxiety, so much of distress, so much of pressure. People don't get sleep in the night. Right? That is the situation. So we have fallen into this kind of a trap. And without understanding, we are trying to solve the problem. So first we have to understand that what Krishna is promising here. So Kunti Maharani actually, when Krishna was leaving from Dwaraka, he said, now all set, everything, Yudhishthira Maharaj has become the king and enjoy the kingdom. It's a big deal. So Kunti Maharani is praying that no, Krishna, you cannot leave us. Why you are leaving us? If you leave us, nothing will be happy. Without you, we cannot be happy. Right. So Kunti Maharaj is saying that we are simply living by your care. If you leave us, there's no happiness in life. Though the Pandavas has become the king now, but the reality is, despite being the king, you can't still be happy. Krishna is missing in your life. So that is why one of the song that where the Kunti Maharaj's mood has been explained. It says, Aha Prabhu Nanda Sutta Brashbhanu Sutta Yuta Karuna Karayo Ei Bar. Says Aha Prabhu Nanda Sutta. They are praying to Nanda Sutta, means son of Nanda Maharaj. Brashbhanu Sutta Yuta. Brashbhanu Sutta means Radharani. You are very dear to Radharani. Karuna Karaya. You show your mercy. There's no other hope. So that is the prayer of a devotee. Right? Actually, there's another very beautiful verse which is quoted by Prad Maharaj in the 7th canto again. It's a very nice verse which explains. Prad Maharaj says, Balashyaneha Sharanam Pitara Vanasimha. Says, people think that Balasha means the small child is under the protection of the parents. Pitara Vanasimha. They think somebody is under the care of protection of the parents. The child is protected. Nartasya chagadam udanvati majjatavano. Somebody is in the boat, he is saved. Taptasya tat pratibhidhir yahyanj says thus. Says somebody is going to the doctor, is given a nice medication, nice treatment, he'll be protected. Somebody might think like that, but the reality is this. Tavat bibho tanubratam tvad upekshitanam. Says one who is in the bodily concept of life and one who is not cared for by you. Upekshitanam. If somebody is not connected to you, oh my dear Lord Krishna Narasimha, somebody is not taken your shelter, somebody is not protected by you, then no matter whatever remedy they accept, though it might be temporarily beneficial, but it is certainly impermanent. Parents can think, child, we are taking care, but still, so many things happens. Somebody is in the boat can falls down, can happen. Somebody goes to the doctor, best of the doctor, best of the treatment, but still person can die. So unless somebody is protected by the Supreme Lord, one should not think that I am protected, right? That is what is actually been explained in the Bhagavatam again and again. Mohash, what is that verse? Says, I'm just forgetting one verse. That verse explains that verse something that the last word I said that aham mameti. Aham mameti means he thinks me and mine. That my power or my people, they will protect me. So that is an illusion. Nothing will protect us unless Krishna protects. So there's the understanding here. So one may be in good boat, there's no guarantee actually. So that is why actually Kunti Devi, she knew that Bhishma, sorry, not Bhishma, Bhima and Arjuna, they're very, very powerful warriors. But she was not confident about them. She says, Krishna, I want you, your blessings. Somebody might think, oh, I have powerful friends, powerful army, a king might think, but there's no guarantee. That is the situation. So that is what is the distraction. So unless Krishna protects, we are not protected in this material world. But Krishna is giving here the promise that bhajate ma mananya bhak. If somebody continues to chant my name, take my shelter, then, O son of Kunti, go and declare boldly, Name Bhaktya Pranashadi, that devotee will never perish. That is the promise of Krishna. And one should have a strong faith that Krishna will protect me. So when we talk about this Sharanagati, and that is the last instruction of Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam. Krishna is demanding that you have to take my shelter. So the Acharyas has been explained, they have explained what is this Sharanagati. So there we'll be discussing in another one of the session in detail. So there are 6 principles of Sharanagati. We keep talking, we keep hearing about this surrender to Krishna. What it means to surrender. How do we surrender? The surrender is like that kind of hands up kind of a surrender. So we need to understand carefully what is the surrender. So Acharya has been explained there are 6 principles of surrender. So in one of those principle is Avashya Rakhi Be Krishna Iti Vishwasa Palana. That is what is the promise, that is what is the principle, one of the principle. And that Krishna will definitely protect me. Avashya Rakhi Be Krishna Iti Vishwasa Palana. So one should have that faith. Anybody remembers what is the definition of faith that we discussed in the previous verse? You might not remember. I'll remind you. So it says, Shraddha Sabde Vishwasa Kaho Sudara Nishaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Kradahaya. So this is what is called the faith. Vishwas. What is that Vishwas? That Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Kradahaya. Somebody do the Krishna Bhakti, somebody take the shelter of Krishna, then everything else will be taken care of. That is the Vishwas. So Avashya Rakhive Krishna Iti Vishwasa Palana. One should maintain that faith that if I go to Krishna, if I take sincere shelter, surrender, complete dependence on Krishna, then Krishna will protect me. And what is the proof? We have a lot of examples in the scriptures. It is Prabhupada actually was giving this, one example from his life. Prabhupada was sharing with his disciple. He was saying that when he was in the Grasta life, his household life. So one time, Prabhupada was from Calcutta. So he used to travel in the tram in Calcutta, the train, local trains called the tram. So sometime when you travel, so one time Prabhupada was traveling with his 2-year-old son. So because he will travel very often, so this conductor, tram driver or conductor, he knew Prabhupada. So he was kind of, teasing the small son, 2-year-old. Say, where is your ticket? They do sometime all that. So the child was like wondering, where is my ticket? Actually, I don't know, where is my ticket? So he said, if you don't have the ticket, get down here. Like that. He was just doing that with the child. So he was trying to threaten him. And Prabhupada said, the child, this Prabhupada, he looked at Prabhupada. He says, you can't ask me to get down. Here is my father, you talk to him. Everything else will be taken. So that is how a devotee is. There's no fear in the devotee's life. Everything you look up to Krishna, say, Krishna is there, he'll take care. So you can't challenge me, Maya. You can't challenge me, right? So that is the words actually comes in the Ajamila story. Narayana para sarve nakudashana bibhyati. One who is Narayan para. Narayan para means one who has taken the shelter of the Supreme Lord. Nakudashana bibhyati. Then he is not at all fearful. Says Swarga Apavarga Narkeshu. He doesn't care whether I'll be sent to Swarga or Narak or Apavarga means I'll be liberated. I don't care. Wherever I am, I'll be completely dependent on Krishna's mercy. There's no fear that, oh, I'm fearful of going to Narak. No. That is what is Narayana Para. That is our devotees. So this is how we should understand Avashya Rakhive Krishna iti Vishwasha Palan. We should have that strong faith that Krishna will protect me. There's another example we can understand. So one time there is a small child, was walking. Father was walking little ahead, child was walking little behind, and suddenly the child found that one dog started chasing him. So he got a little scared, and then what happened? The child started running a little faster, and then father was almost entering into the house. Child came running fast and immediately catch hold of the hand of the father. And as soon as he catch hold of the hand of the father, and then dog came close, and the child was kicking the dog now. Say, I don't care, just get lost from here. So as soon as you catch hold of Krishna, then you are not fearful. You can defeat the Maya. So like that, these are the examples, and many such examples been explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, there's a famous example that Draupadi Chiraran. We know that how Krishna gave the protection. So we not get into the details, but like that, many examples can be quoted that Krishna says, Name Bhakta Pranashati, that my devotee never perishes. So sometimes this question can be asked that, why Krishna did not come in the beginning only? So much insult happened and all that happened. Should have come in the beginning only, he knows everything. So it has been explained that initially when Kunti was, attempted for the Chiraran, then she was trying to hold the sari with his hands. And she was going and different people, his husbands, all Pandavas, and all the big warriors there. So she was trying to seek the help from so many people, still not to Krishna. Krishna said, okay, you try here, try there. And she finally, nobody could help because they already lost Pandavas. Then she was trying to hold the sari with her own hands, 2 hands. And she was also trying to hold the sari between her 2 teeth. She said, maybe with my power, I'll be able to protect myself. And that is what exactly our situation in this material world. We think that I can deal with all this. I can find the solutions. I can protect myself. But the reality is we can't. We are not powerful enough. So if we learn to take shelter. So when Draupadi, she raised her hand in complete surrenders. Govinda Damodara Madhavriti. That is when Krishna comes and then protected by supplying unlimited service. So that is the promise. What is the promise? Bhajate ma ananya bhak. You had to ananya. There should not be any other shelter. Your own power, your own people, your own strength, your own influence, nothing. Complete surrenderance. Then Name Bhaktya Pranashadi. So we see this is one of the example. And there's like that, there's many examples can be cited here. I'll just quickly, there's some. Okay. So this is Kunti's example. We see this Prad Maharaj example. We all know we have discussed many times in detail in the past time of Prad Maharaj. So actually, in the very beginning only, when Prad Maharaj was in the womb of the mother, Kayadu, there was an attempt by the demigods. All the devatas, they thought that Hiranyakashipu, first of all, he himself is such a powerful demon. He has created such a havoc in the entire universe. And now his son, this Prahlad, if he also comes out, he'll be another demon. So better to kill him in the womb. That was the demigod's plan. But we know the story that how Narad Muni intervened the situation, and Narad Muni told that how much ever you plan, you will not be able to kill this child because he is a great devotee of the Lord. So that was the prediction already Narad Muni gave. And also we saw that later, even the Hiranyakashipu, despite so powerful demon, being such a powerful demon, he couldn't do anything to Prad Maharaj. And Lord came and protected him. So this is another example. And then we can see that Amish Maharaj example has been given. So this is a small story that one time Durvasa Muni, who was famous for being quickly, very upset and angry for small things. So he came as a guest to Amish Maharaj, who was the king, pure devotee of the Lord. And then he says, please supply his food. And then Amish Maharaj is fasting at that day. So the rule is when some guest comes, then the rule is you should first serve the guest. That is the Vedic system. And when the guest is sufficiently supplied the food, fed nicely, and then one should take the food later. But since he was fasting, the Amrish Maharaj was previous day was fasting, so as to break his fast. Now there is a particular time that Murtha, and that Murtha only to break the fast. Now there was a dilemma. There is a Dharma Sankat. Whether I should break my fast now before feeding them, or what should I do? It's a violation. Don't break the fast on the time, then your entire fast is kind of subdued. So like that. So somebody suggested him that you can take little water. So water is considered as breaking the fast, and also you're not eaten anything. So both the things will happen. And then he did that. But as we know that Durvasa Muni is very good in getting upset. He got upset that how you can take even water before feeding us. So he was offending him and all of that. And he became so furious that he was, attacking on him. And that is when immediately the Supreme Lord, he released his Sudarshan Chakra. And you cannot attack my devotee like that. And Durvasa realized, my God, the Sudarshan is coming to kill me. Started running. Where he was running all around, top to bottom. He was such a powerful sage that he could go even interplanetary. Went to this planet, that planet, all around, even to the Supreme Lord Vishnu. And he says, Lord, please protect me. And the Lord says, I can also protect you. Somebody tried to challenge my devotee attack, and I won't forgive. So the only way is you go and beg forgiveness from my devotee himself. If he forgives, then you're all set, otherwise there's no hope. So then in that particular pastime, we see that how Durvasa Muni comes and beg forgiveness from Amrish Maharaj. So we see another example of that how Krishna protects his devotees, like that. There is another pastime of this, Parikhit Maharaj. He was protected in the womb. So we see how what Krishna is saying is actually this already done. So many such pastimes have been recorded that Parikshit Maharaj was in the womb. And we know that how the Ashwatthama released the Brahmastra. And Parikshit Maharaj was the only surviving child in the dynasty. So he released, and then the mother of Parikshit Maharaj, Uttara, the wife of Abhimanyu, she was perturbed, concerned that what will happen to my child. She goes to the Supreme Lord, Krishna, and then she says, please protect. And we know that how Krishna protected Parikshit Maharaj in the womb. He enters into the womb and gave the protection. And that is how the Parikshit Maharaj was protected. So that is also, the example of Krishna's promise that my devotee never perishes. Krishna saved Pandavas. This is also another very beautiful story of Akshayapatra, how this Akshayapatra came. Right? So it was all Duryodhana's devious plan. And that he was always trying to create some problems to Pandavas. So when they were in the Vanvas, so he planned that this Durvasa Muni should go with his entire, the team of his disciples, some 10,000 disciples. So you should go and ask for the food. And he knew that they don't have sufficient means to feed that many, such a big number of people. So when they go there, and he says, they welcome that, dear says, please come, this is the system. Any sadhu comes, you have to welcome them and offer. So they goes there and they say, okay, please, he says, we are here and looking for some food. Please arrange something. Says, please give us some time. You go get ready, take bath, get ready, and in the meantime, we'll arrange. You can't say no. Unlike in this modern age in Kali Yuga. If sadhus goes, then they'll call the cops first. Says somebody is trespassing. They can shoot also in this country. It's a very unfortunate situation, but anyway. So he says, you go and get ready. And then they're all anxiety on the Pandavas. And then naturally what happens? The devotee, when either in anxiety or no anxiety, They always remember the Lord. So they started remembering, Krishna, please help us, please protect us, what to do. We don't have any idea how to save this situation. And when they are remembering, immediately somebody knocked on the door, and it was Krishna. And this is what is the situation. This is the situation. 10,000 disciples Durvasha Muni has come with, and then we have to feed them. We don't have anything in our house. How to cook, how to feed them. We have already finished our food. So actually, this Draupadi was actually given in this pot called the Akshapatra. So this is the story of this Akshapatra. We do this program, started from Bangalore, and now it's around the world. So Akshapatra means unlimited food. So that was the pot given to Draupadi by sun god Surya Devata. Condition was, unless Draupadi eats, she can feed any number of people from that pot. It can produce that much of food. But when Durvasa Muni came, so Duryodhana knew already, he told them what time you should go there. And they're already done with their lunch. So the Draupadi ate already the lunch. So that was their worry. Otherwise, there was no worry. They had that Akshavadra. She could have produced that much of food. So when Krishna came, and then she explained that is what is the situation. We can produce the food. So then Krishna says that, can you go and get some food for me at least, so that I can think, first I'll eat something. Said there's nothing in the kitchen. And Krishna says, go find even one grain. Maybe, and then Draupadi goes and trying to find even one grain was not there in the kitchen. And somehow she found that something sticking to that pot. Just one grain. And she brings, and then she gives to offer to Krishna with love and devotion. And that is what Krishna needs. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachadi. Somebody offers with love and devotion, Krishna is satisfied. And then Bhagavatam explained, Tasmin tuste jagatusta samsiddhir haritoshanam. Krishna is satisfied, jagatusta, the entire world is satisfied. So Krishna ate with that love and devotion which was offered, and then Krishna felt so satisfied. And because Krishna felt satisfied, all these 10,000 people, they felt satisfied. They're taking bath in the river, and suddenly they started feeling like stomach is full, and they can't eat even one single bite. They said, now, if you go back to the Pandavas, they might have already prepared so much of food. And if we go, it will be like very insulting. We won't be able to eat their food. So better to escape from here only. So they escaped from there only. They never went back. So this is how Krishna protects his devotees. So this is what is Krishna's promise. But again, we should not forget that bhajate mam ananyabhak. We should also develop that quality of complete surrenderance to Krishna. And then when we reach to that state, ananya chintayanto mam, then Krishna's promise, as we discussed in the previous verse, that I'll provide what you lack and I preserve what you have. So we think, no, we have to make our plans. Yes, we can do as a matter of duty, but ultimately we should understand what will work out is Krishna's plan, not my plan. Who will protect me is Krishna will protect. Okay. So now I'll just conclude in next 5 minutes. Another very important aspect of a different perspective of understanding this particular point. And what is Krishna's protection? We understood that Krishna protects, a lot of examples. We discussed all these stories, pastimes. Great. What is Krishna's protection, real protection? If Krishna protects, why he did not protect the Pandavas? If you see the Pandavas' life, all their life, they've gone through so much tribulation in their life. Where is Krishna's protection? I doubt whether Krishna really protects or not. Because Pandavas were always there are a lot of challenges in their life. When they were young, the Pandu died, their father, the alone mother, struggling. So much politics happens with them. So where is Krishna's protection? So we should understand Krishna's protection, we cannot dictate how Krishna will protect. What we can do is, we can just surrender to Krishna. His protection can come in exactly a way opposite to what you're thinking is a protection. You think the protection is Krishna should give me that, and Krishna will take away that only. Because your dependence on something, Krishna will first take away that thing only, those people only. And he says, now you surrender to me. That is what is Krishna's protection, because real protection means complete surrenderance to Krishna. That is what we need to understand. So let's say a real example of a devotee. He was in US only in one of the temple. He was Western devotee, American, white-bodied. he joined the temple in a very young age as a full-time monk, brahmachari. He was serving the deities in that particular temple. So before he joined the temple, became the devotee, he was actually into all surfing. You go on the water, and he was very fond of. People are very passionate in this country, for all such things. So for many, many years of serving the deities in the temple, and not many devotees were there. He was the all alone. Many years has been serving. Suddenly one day that urge came that it's been long time that I went for surfing. I should plan. And that idea started contemplating on the thought. And then what happens? We had the Vishan Bamza. That idea became very strong that, oh, no, I had to go one day. So I decided that one day I'll just escape without telling anyone in the temple, change my dress, and I'll go for surfing. And he executed the plan. He went into some particular place with a surfing board, very happy, excited, changed the dress. And he thought, okay, now let me enjoy this. He was in the water and suddenly he realized in no time there was a big whale was chasing him in the water. So he thought, my God, what is this? And he started, going a little fast, whatever he could do that time. And then he realized this whale is constantly chasing. Such a big whale. He says, I have so many years of my life, I have done this surfing, but I have never experienced like someone like this chasing me. And he said, what to do? He tried whatever best he could do. And since he has been a devotee in the temple for many years, then naturally he thought nothing is working out. Looks like at the end of the life today. So then he started chanting all the prayers, what he had learned. He did all Mangala Arti, Narsimha Arti on the water only. Chanting all the prayer, chanting japa, chanting Hare Krishna mantra, all kirtan. Say, Krishna, please protect me, please protect me. Namaste Narsimha is taking the shelter of in his mind. He says, Krishna, if you doesn't protect me today, don't protect me, I'm finished. And then, something Krishna inspired him. He says, Krishna, I promise you right here that after this day, I'll never leave your service. I'll be there at your shelter forever. And then suddenly he realized that whale take the U-turn. And then he comes back. He comes back to the temple. He bowed down to the deities. He said, my dear Lord, such a mistake I had done. So this is Krishna's protection. Because sometimes what happens, our crazy mind gives some crazy ideas and you might get deviate from the service of Krishna. So Krishna has his own means to bring the devotee back. He says, where are you going? Leaving my service and you're going for all this silly enjoyment of this material world? Come back. And he comes back like that. So this is what is Krishna's protection. So what seems like Krishna is putting us in more difficult situations, more challenges he's throwing in our life. Where is Krishna's protection? We should understand Krishna's plan is to make us more and more dependent on him. That is what is the real protection. If we are under Krishna's shelter, then we are protected. There's no other protection. There's no other shelter in this world. Actually, Prabhupada was sharing that he says that sometimes people are not very enthusiastic about coming into this Krishna consciousness. Whether the Krishna doesn't protect. And Prabhupada was actually sharing his own example. He was saying that, that when Prabhupada was given the order by his Guru Maharaj that you leave everything and go to the Western world. So Prabhupada was thinking, of course, Prabhupada is a pure devotee, but out of his utter humility, he's sharing this. So Prabhupada is saying, when my Guru Maharaj gave me the order in the beginning, I was thinking that why my Guru Maharaj is asking me to leave everything and go to the Western countries. I have my family, I have my business, I have to take care of all of that. But then Krishna arranged everything that my business collapsed. Prabhupada's business was actually, in those days, Prabhupada was having the car called the Duke car. Nowadays, this car is not available. You can go and Google it. It was a very, very expensive car in those days. And in the entire country, hardly just few people had that car. So Prabhupada was having that car. Means you can understand that what kind of business and what kind of money he was having at that time, those days. He was having that, but suddenly, his business collapsed. And then he was struggling to start up business and all of that, nothing worked out. And one day the servant also stole all the money and ran away. So all his hopes were like, crashing down. And one day, that Prabhupada's wife, that some, all these people come now for all to, what do you call, the trash, they take something, they'll give you something, raddi. So by mistake that Prabhupada's wife, she actually gave that entire manuscript of Bhagavad Gita, which Prabhupada worked for many, many years to write this translation in Bhagavad Gita. She thought it was useless. She just gave it in Radhi, in the trash, for getting some tea or something like that. So when Prabhupada got to know, he was little, upset and disappointed. He said, "What is this? Where is my manuscript?" So I sold it and to buy some tea. Prabhupada was very upset, and Prabhupada was in that upset mood. He says, "What is this? You have to choose between tea or me." Sometimes the husband and wife, they fight and argue like that, and wife doesn't take husband serious. So Prabhupada, when saying tea or me, then wife was, she did not take serious. He said, tea, not you. So Prabhupada left home that day. She thought anyway he'll come back the evening when his mood will be little. Prabhupada never came back. He left from there to Vrindavan, and then later he took sannyas and all of that. So Prabhupada was sharing that I was initially, when my Guru Maharaj gave me the order, I was horrified. I was scared that who will take care of my family? What will happen to my business? But actually, Krishna has taken away everything to give me something better. Prabhupada has not left all of those things. By Krishna's intervention, then this worldwide movement would have not come up. So that is what is Krishna's protection. Actually, Krishna quotes this beautiful verse. It is a little scary verse, but it is not applicable for everyone. Only for few selected special devotees. Krishna says, Yashyaham anugranami harishye tad dhanam shanai. So he says, when I show the special favor to any devotee, how Krishna shows the favor? Says, Yashyaham anugranami harishye. It take away everything from the devotee. That is what is my special favor. So sometimes people get scared. They say, we don't want a special favor. We want to be just normal one, not the special one. Right? If Krishna takes away everything. But we should understand, we should remember, Krishna takes away everything to give you something much better. He took everything from Prabhupada's life to give Prabhupada this worldwide movement. And Prabhupada later he shares, he says, I left my sons, 2-3 sons. Now I have thousands of sons, all my disciples. They take care of me more than my sons. Now I left my business and I have such a worldwide movement. Everywhere we spend lakhs and lakhs of rupees and sharing the message of Krishna. So like that. And Prabhupada becomes the worldwide famous Acharya, Jagat Guru. So that is what Krishna wanted to give. So we should understand that. Sometimes people get confused. The protection means, oh, why Krishna is taking away this? Why my business not working out? I'm such a pure devotee. I've been chanting Hare Krishna mantra, going to temple, doing some service. Krishna, please give me something. What happens is sometimes we are so immature, you may end up asking some poison. No matter how much you ask the poison from the father will give you one slap. So you don't understand what you're asking. You are thinking this is very sweet. Sometimes there's something called sweet poison. So you might think it is very sweet, but the father is a little mature. You understand? This is sweet poison. I'll not give you this. So there is actually in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a beautiful verse, expression. It's a beautiful expression. It explains, Krishna kahe ami bhaje, mage vishya sukh. So it says, Krishna kahe, what Krishna is saying, ami bhaje. It is in Bengali, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Says, one who worships me, ami bhaje, mage vishya sukh. And at the same time, is asking for this vishaya sukh, all this materialistic enjoyment. He says, Krishna kahe, ami bhaje, mage vishaya sukh, amrata chadi, vish mage, ei bada murkh. So such a person is such a foolish. Amrata chadi is worshipping me, I can give, something which is like the nectar. Amrata chadi, vish mage, is asking the poison. Ei bada murkh. This person is considered as very foolish. He might be foolish. Then Krishna in the next line he says that Ami Vigya Ei Murkha. He says he might be Murkh, but I am not Murkh. I am not foolish. Krishna is intelligent. He says Ami Vigya, I am very intelligent. Ei Murkha Kene Vishya Diva. Why I should give the poison? Swacharanamrata Diya Vishya Bulaiva. I'll give him Swacharanamrata. I'll give him the taste of the nectar of my lotus feet. And once he tastes that nectar, then Vishya Bulaiva, he'll forget all this wish. So that is what Krishna gives. So that is how we should understand what is Krishna's protection. Right. I'll just conclude with this beautiful understanding of when we ask Krishna's protection, how Krishna gives the protection. So it is very nicely put in these lines. Please hear attentively. It has been explained here like that. Says, I asked for strength. Krishna gave me difficulties. I asked for wisdom. Krishna gave me problems. I asked for prosperity. Krishna gave me brain to work. I asked for courage. Krishna gave me dangers to overcome. I asked for patience, and he put me in situations where I was forced to wait. I asked for love. He gave me troubled people. I asked for favors. He gave me opportunities. I received nothing I wanted. I received everything I needed. So in just one line, we can summarize the entire discussion for today. That we can ask so many things, but we don't get what we ask. We get what we want. And Krishna knows the best and what best want we can have. So like that. So here in this particular verse we are reading today, that Name Bhaktya Pranashyati, my devotee never perishes. But before that also we should remember that we should become Ananya Bhak. We should take the complete shelter, unmotivated, uninterrupted devotion that we had to develop. Then Krishna will give us the protection. Okay, so we'll pause here, we'll stop here, and let me see now. We can take a few questions. Those who are joining online, you have the questions, you can unmute yourself, ask the questions, or put in the chat, or anyone here in person has the questions. You can ask. You are having some question?
You answer next.
Good. That is how it works. All the question will be answered. Okay, anybody else have the question? Anyone, those who are joining us online? Questions, please put in chat. In the meantime, let us chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We are talking about Bhajate Ma Ananya Bhak. So how to begin our devotion to reach that level of Ananya? We had to have some commitment in our life. So this commitment can start with chanting this Hare Krishna mantra. At least start with those who are not chanting. Start with 1 round, 2 rounds, or whatever number of rounds works for you. And Srila Prabhupada says that one should chant 16 rounds every day. So let us chant now 1 round together. All of us, please join me in chanting. Please repeat after me this Panchatattva mantra, and then we'll Hare Krishna mantra will chant together. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda